Means, supposing you want to reach a village. You want to reach a village. Can you call it choiceless? Can we use the term choiceless? No. I can reach the village. I need not reach the village. I can reach it in a different way. I can walk and reach. I can fly and reach. I can roll and reach. I can do really Sashtanga Namaskaram. There are some people, coming from Kerala to Kashmir. He is measuring the whole distance with his body. Can you know? He is measuring the whole distance with his body. He does this Ashtanga Namaskaram, and then from there again another Ashtanga Namaskaram, from there another Ashtanga Namaskaram. He is measuring the whole country. From Kanyakumari to Kashmir, he is going to measure the whole country with his body. And he is still on his way. I don't know whether you have heard it. Some are rolling. One person is measuring by rolling. Another person is measuring the distance. And therefore, if you go to Himalayas, there are so many. From Rishikesh right up to Badri, Kedar. Measure the distance. Bhakti aina, when you are under the grip of tremendous devotion to God, you are ready to do anything. But anyway, when it is walking, if it is like an action to be done, I can do it, I need not do it, I can always do it otherwise. That is called Purusha Tantram, an action which is within your choice. An action can be done this way, that way need not be done. This is what is called Purusha Tantram. Purusha Tantram. Purusha means man. Tantra means dependent upon his will. Actions depend upon your will, your like, your dislike, your will, your choice, whatever it is. Now, when you look at the tree, can you say it is a tree, it is also a stone? Can you say? Does it depend upon that it is a tree? Is it depend upon your will? No. That it is a tree doesn't depend upon your will. That which is independent of your will is called a fact. Vastu. Is it not? Is a fact. That it is a tree is independent of your will. And the knowledge that it is a tree doesn't depend upon your will. That it is a tree and the knowledge that it is a tree, is it dependent upon your will? Is it dependent upon your will? No. As independent of your will, that knowledge is called Vastu Tantram because it is in keeping with the very fact. The knowledge that it is a tree is true to the very thing called the tree. Is it clear? The knowledge that it is a tree is in keeping with the very tree. Not clear. That which is true to the fact is called Vastu Tantram. That which depends upon your will is called Purusha Tantram. Is it clear? That which depends upon your choice or will is called Purusha Tantram. That which is true to the fact is called Vastu Tantram. Knowledge is Vastu Tantram and karma is Purusha Tantram. Karma depends upon your will, knowledge depends upon the Vastu. Meaning, as is the Vastu, so is the thought, that is called knowledge. If knowledge depends upon your will, then all gadabad. Apurusha Tantratvat. Brahma Jnanam is not Purusha Tantram. That I am Brahman is not Purusha Tantram. Apurusha Tantratvat. Brahma Vijnanasya. Brahma Vijnanam. Brahma Jnanam is not Purusha Tantram. Brahma Jnanam is not Purusha Tantram. Supposing you do karma or upasana, that will be Purusha Tantram. Upasana you may do, you may not do. Karma you may do, you may not do. But Jnanam is something that doesn't involve your choice. I am Brahma, but I could also be something else. No. If I am Brahma, I am Brahma. If I am not Brahma, I am not Brahma, but it has no vikalpa at all. That I am Brahma is independent of my will to be Brahma or will not to be Brahma. Is it not? A fact is not dependent upon your will. Supposing a person says, Just listen to, if this becomes clear, everything is clear, really speaking. This difference that has to be seen. A tree is a tree. Why? Is it because of our will? Anybody's will? Its own will? No. A tree is a tree because it is a tree. That is a fact. Relatively, it's a fact. It can't be otherwise. It's a tree, bus. It is not independent. It is not. Doesn't depend upon anybody's will. Fire is hot. On whose will? Due to whose will is fire hot? Nobody's will. That is a fact. That means facts are facts not because of somebody's will. That is their nature. That is their nature. Similarly, here Vedanta is telling you are Brahma, means that is your nature, whether you like it or not. Like tree is a tree, whether you like it or not. Fire is hot, whether you like it or not. You are Brahma, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not. Like a tree is a tree, whether you know it or not. Fire is hot, whether you know it or not. Fire is hot, whether you know it or not. Fire is hot, whether you like it or not. Similarly, you are Brahma, whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not. Swamiji, I don't know that I am Brahma, therefore I am not Brahma. Can you say that? I don't know, Swamiji, I am Brahma, therefore I am not Brahma. What a logic. I don't know Brahma, therefore I am not Brahma. Can you say that? No. Shruti says whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, the fact about you is that you are Brahman, the truth, one without a second. You are free. That is what is called Vastu. You understand what is Vastu? What is independent of your like or dislike or ignorance and knowledge, that is called Vastu. And what you do is an action, and that is always in keeping with your will, like, dislike and all that. Karma is done in keeping with our will, means Purushatantram. Upasana is Purushatantram, that you came here to Ramana Kendra, morning you decided to come over here. Purushatantram or Vastutantram? It is clean Purushatantram. You could have decided against it. What is within your will is called Purushatantram. But once you come here, I say you are Brahma, that is Vastutantram. Coming to Ramana Kendra is Purushatantram, but being Brahman is not Purushatantram, that is Vastutantram. Vastutantram. I don't know it. Doesn't matter. Whether you know it or not, it is Brahma. That is called Vastutantram. Brahma Vijnanam is Vastutantram. Tasmat, therefore, now you see the contrast between karma and jnanam. Karma involves karakas. Jnanam resolves karakas. Karma is Purushatantram and jnanam is Vastutantram. Can they coexist? Can they coexist? No. There is no sahabhavitvam. There is no sahabhavitvam. Tasmat, therefore, you can't say, I can have both. Therefore, you can't say you can have both. I can also have jnanam, I can also have karma. Who will do the karma? Please remember. Who will do the karma? Who will do the karma? Karma to Purushatantra hai, lekin who will go for that Purushatantra Rupa karma? Jinka phalka ichha hai. Karakas are one thing. See, there is subject is what? Karakam. Object is what? Karakam. Means is what? Karakam. When you put them all together, then there is called a kriya, action. subject of action, object of action, means of action. That action is called kriya. And the kriya is made possible because of which factors? They are called karakas. And that kriya, when it is done through karakas, there is a result. That result is called phalam. The one who is interested in the phalam, he will do kriya. Is it not? That means all karmas and upasanas are meant for what? Phalam. Therefore, if I am interested in various kinds of phalam, then I will be indulging in karma and upasana. Now, that same person who is interested in the phalam cannot go for jnanam also. Either you have to go for phalam or you have to go for jnanam. You are not able to follow? You cannot have both phalam and you cannot say, I want a lot of things in this world, but plus Brahma Jnanam you can't say. Because Brahma Jnanam is not one of the things. If Brahma Jnanam is not, if it is one of the things, then I can have Brahma Jnanam also. Either I will be interested in the phalam or I will be interested in Brahma Jnanam. Who will go for the phala? Who will do the karma? The one who is interested in the phalam. Who will go to Brahma Jnanam? The one who has seen through the limitations of all phalas. A matured man, a person who is a jignasu, a viveki, who has understood the prapancham. There is no phalam which can free you forever. Is there any phalam? Phalam, and every phalam will only create a pleasure. In the mind you will have pleasure. Every object which is the phalam of your action, the result of your action will create only some comfort, physical and mental comfort. And how long that comfort? थोड़ी देर के लिए. अगर ज़्यादा देर के लिए भी होगा तो वो ज़्यादा देर is nothing but a थोड़ी देर in the eternity of time. Is it not? What we call 1 minute is short, 1 year is also short, 1 yuga is short. Short in the sense it comes to an end. Does not yuga come to an end? Does not a billion yugas come to an end? That means what? It has an anta ityartha. It has an anta. Because it has a beginning. Therefore, a person who has seen through, who has understood silently, a person who doesn't react but always contemplates, ye kya hai, ye kya hai. If a person becomes angry, a thinking person will not become angry again. He will sit down and understand, well, man can't but become angry. When you are unhappy within, then what will you do? You will become angry. When man doesn't know himself, what else can he do? Become angry. When he is frustrated, he will have to be angry. Something is there, discomfort. Some discomfort is angry. So you are analyzing human situation. You are analyzing really human situations in general. That is called, pariksha. You are looking at the society, you are looking at the people near, people around you, how really one person, how every human being is helpless. Every person wants to become complete, and the means that we adopt always lead us to confirmation of incompleteness. And therefore, always irritation. I want to be complete and I meet with incompleteness, I get agitated. I thought it will make me happy and it fails to make me happy, I become agitated, I become irritated, I become angry, become frustrated. Therefore, it is all the time a conflict between what I want and what I gain. What I basically want and what I get. What I want is completeness and what I get is limited. Therefore, that conflict is what is called frustration, anger, all battles, all wars. When you look at the human history, all great battles were fought only because of this. And that contradiction cannot be resolved. It is not, this contradiction cannot be resolved, it can only be resolved on the basis of the knowledge.
because I can never become, I cannot gain completeness, because all that I gain is always limited, incomplete. And completeness cannot be gained by me. Completeness should be a fact about me, and I should know completeness of myself, not be gained from outside. Therefore, one who is interested in the phalam goes for action. The one who is a virakta for the phalam, he goes for jnanam. Therefore, here is said, tasmat, therefore, drishtadrishtebhyah, from the seen and the unseen. This is a very important word. Drishta and adrishta. Sometimes you are fed up with the pleasures known to you, but may want pleasures unknown to you. Sometimes, say, you must see the world, because how do you know what all things are available in the world? Supposing you don't go abroad, then they always look up. A person who goes abroad and comes back, he becomes, 2 inches above the one who has not gone abroad. He looks upon himself, he is a little taller than the one. See, when you go abroad, all right, to go abroad, I am not against going abroad or not going abroad. The problem is the attitude. That is, you go abroad and come back and they will give you advice. You must see the world. Unless, otherwise, how do you know what is available in the world? Even without going abroad, you know what is available. Because it will not be anything other than sense perception. 5 elements hoga, and all the pleasures will be elementals. And the pleasures there you are not going to experience through the 6th sense organ, you are going to experience all of them through 5 sense organs. And it is not going to be just different from what we have here. This is what is called pariksha. Pariksha does not mean going through every pleasure. Therefore, a person who has understood the drishtam as well as adrishtam as limited. Drishtam is limited, what I have seen is limited, what I have not seen also is going to be limited, because what I have not seen cannot be different from what I have seen. What I have seen is a sense pleasure, what I have not yet seen also is a sense pleasure, and therefore that not yet seen pleasure also is exactly like already seen. There is no difference between the already seen and the not yet seen. The not yet seen may be worse than the already seen, or even if it is better than it, but still it is the same as that, because it's a perception. That is what is called drishtadrishtebhyah. Free from, drishtadrishtebhyah means having grown out of the drishta pleasures and the adrishta pleasures. That drishta drishtebhyah should be connected to that viraktasya. The next word is there, viraktasya. The one who is a virakta from the drishta and the virakta from adrishta. Is it clear? The one who has got vairagyam for the drishtam and vairagyam for the adrishtam. This vairagyam is not simple attitude, it is knowledge. Please understand. It is not just really, I look upon a thing as limited. Do you look upon the pleasure as limited? Or do you know that it is limited? Do you look upon the fire as hot? Or do you know it is fire as hot? Knowledge. There is an attitude. Attitude is different from, it's not belief. The one who, vairagi does not mean a person who has got vairagyam called virakta. A virakta is a person who has the knowledge about the things, knowledge about pleasures. He understands the pleasures, what they can give to man. So, this drishta drishtebhyah viraktasya, for that person, bahya sadhana sadhyebhyah. All pleasures are within the realm of sadhya and sadhanam. Sadhya sadhanam means and ends. Every pleasure is an end for which there is a means. Is it clear? This is called a sadhya sadhana realm. Bahya sadhya sadhana sadhanebhyah. Meaning, well, things
pleasures involving sadhyas, involving sadhanas. From them, viraktasya, the one who has grown out of the pleasures and the means to them. For him, pratyagatma vishaya, brahma jignasa. For him is the brahma jignasa. You can take the next word, brahma jignasa. To that virakta is the brahma jignasa, the vichara into Brahma. The vichara into Brahma, the pursuit of Brahma Jnanam is for that person who is viraktaha, Brahma jignasa. And this vichara pertains to what? Pratyagatma vishaya, pertaining to oneself. Pratyagatma vishaya means pertaining to Pratyagatma. Brahma jignasa, the inquiry into Brahma means what? Inquiry into myself, to understand myself as Brahman. He is called Brahma jignasa. Iyam, this Brahma jignasa, this vichara into oneself as Brahman. Kenopanishad, keneshitam ityadi shrutya pradarshite. This Brahma jignasa has been shown. Pradarshite means is shown. Keneshitam ityadi shrutya. By this particular Upanishad which begins with Keneshitam. Keneshitam is the first word of the Upanishad. If you want to name an Upanishad, you can name it by the teacher. You can name the Upanishad after the student or after the teacher in that Upanishad. Or you can, the best thing is to name it after the first word of the Upanishad. कोई झगड़ा नहीं है आचार्य का नाम शिष्य का नाम. You name the Upanishad after the first word. Now this Upanishad begins with the word Keneshitam. That is why this Upanishad is also called Kenopanishad, because it begins with Kena. It is not Kenopanishad. I have come across some of the some English versions, because they don't know, Thoda, if you don't know whether it is Kina or Kena, what are you going to talk about that Upanishad? And there are people who read it also. The explosion of literature in the modern times is so much, and in the same proportion there is explosion of Vedantic literature also. Anybody starts writing about Vedanta, translating Vedanta, commenting upon Vedanta, and all that you get is anything but Vedanta. If you go through the whole thing, there is no Vedanta, there is no tradition. Kena doesn't mean, Kena is different from Kena. So Kenopanishad. Keneshitam ityadi shrutya means by this Upanishad which begins with Kena. Kena means by what or by whom. Kena, by whom. It begins, the whole sentence will come later on, but anyway, this Upanishad, Shrutya, Pradarshite has been shown. Now what is been shown? That Brahma Jignasa is not for a person who is interested in the phalam, but it is meant only for that person who has seen through the world. Who has seen through the world. Therefore, when a person renounces, people think he is a failure. No, the other people are still struggling, and they have a long way to go to understand what the world can give. This person has already understood. To pursue, to run after things is not a big thing, because that is universal, swabhavik hai. But not to run after things, it requires mind. You don't require great education, great discrimination, great vichara to run after things. Is it really true? You don't require to be a great viveki to run after things. You require viveka not to run after the things. Therefore, not to run after things is not a failure. Not to run after things is viveka, not failure. It's a viveka. Only a viveki will not run after things, and the rest of the world runs after things. And therefore here, there is no sahabhavitvam. You can't say jnanam and karma are for the same person. Karma is for one person who is interested in phalam. Jnanam is for that person who is interested in, who has seen through the limitation of the phala, the one who is interested in moksha, well, a viveki. For a viveki is jijnasa, for an aviveki is karma. They are not the same. They are two different jivas, they are two different adhikaris, two different students. Therefore, jnanam and karma cannot go together. Jnanam resolves karakas and karma involves karakas. Karma is Purusha Tantram, Jnanam is Vastu Tantram. There is no oneness. Then go to the, continue this. To Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejas Vinavadhi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. So तस्माद् दृष्टाद् दृष्टेभ्यः बाह्य साधन साध्येभ्यः विरक्तस्य प्रत्यगात्म विषया ब्रह्म जिज्ञासा इयं केनेशितम् इत्यादि श्रुत्या प्रदर्श्यते. So the one viraktasya, the one who is a virakta, the one who is out of all the sadhyas and sadhanas, the means and ends. There are many limited ends in this creation. Ends means various ends, various objects. Like wealth is one of the end, fame is one of the end. Every pleasure is an end to be achieved. What man wants, what man longs for in this creation are all called ends. There are so many ends to be achieved. An end to be achieved is called an end, called sadhyam. It's not with me, it's away from me, but I want it. Then it becomes sadhyam, an end. Then I work for it. That is called sadhanam. A particular means I adopt to get what I want. That is called sadhanam. But the one who is virakta for sadhyam and virakta for sadhanam, he is not interested either in sadhyas or in sadhanas, because he is not interested in the sadhyas because all of them have an end. All ends are meant to end. And therefore I am not interested in sadhanas. If the sadhyam, we take to sadhanam because we are interested in sadhyam. If I am not interested in sadhyam, sadhana bhi nahi hai. Sadhan ki pijit. No, Swamiji, even though sadhyam I don't want, but sadhanam is very interesting. No. Nobody will adopt any means if he is not interested in sadhyam. If you are not interested in sadhyam, you won't work. Karma is not a very pleasant thing. Karma means struggling. It's not a pleasant thing. Therefore, even though it is unpleasant, but still we do it because we want things. Otherwise nobody works. So a virakta is one who is out of all sadhyas and all sadhanas, known and unknown. Known and heard of. There are all known, there are known sadhyas in this world, and there are sadhyas about which I have heard, like heaven, etc. It is a heard sadhya. It's called anushruta. So, anushruta is that is heard through Veda. There are pleasures which are known to me, there are pleasures which I have heard about. So, the seen pleasures I don't want, the heard about pleasures also I don't want. Therefore, I don't want to adopt the sadhanas for the known pleasures, nor I am interested to adopt the sadhana for the heard of pleasures. He is called a viraktaha. Therefore, he is viraktasya pratyagatma vishaya brahma jignasa. For him, in him there is jignasa born. In that virakta, a desire to know is born. Brahma Jignasa, the desire to know Brahma. Brahma Jnatum Ichha Brahma Jignasa. The desire to know himself as Brahma is born in him. Brahma Jignasa Iyam Pratyagatma Vishaya. Pratyagatma Vishaya means pertaining to Pratyagatma. Brahma Jignasa. Pratyagatma Vishaya Brahma Jignasa. Means what? Brahma Jignasa means here the desire to know Brahma as the Pratyagatma. Iyam Keno Upanishad. This Jignasa Pradarshate. Iyam Jignasa Pradarshate. This Brahma Jignasa, Brahma Vichara. This Brahma Vichara, in that person there is a Brahma Vichara. In which person is the Brahma Vichara? In that person who is a Viraktaha from the Drishta Sadhya, Adrishta Sadhya, Drishta Sadhanam, Adrishta Sadhanam. In that Virakta there is Brahma Jignasa, Brahma Vichara, and that is being shown, Pradarshate, by whom? Shrutya, Kene Shitam Ityadina Shrutya, Ityadi Shrutya. By this Upanishad, which begins with Kena, Kene Shitam. This Upanishad is called Kena Upanishad because it begins with Kena Ishitam Iti. Therefore, this Upanishad highlights, this Upanishad shows the Brahma Vichara in a given person, which person is a Virakta from the Sadhyas and Virakta from Sadhanas. Because there is no name of the teacher, name of the student here, that is why he is connecting in the introduction that the Kena Upanishad shows a Brahma Vichara, Brahma Jignasa in a person in whom there is total Virakti. Now a question arises. Shishya Acharya Prashna Prativachana Rupena, as a dialogue between Shishya and Acharya. Shishya Acharya Prashna Prativachana Rupena. It is in the form of a teacher answering questions and the student raising questions. That is what is called Prashna Prativachana Rupena. Kathanam tu, this mentioning. So this entire Upanishad is in the form of Prashna and Prativachana. Prashna and Prativachana. Kathanam tu, Sukshma Vastu Vishayatvad. Because the subject matter to be understood is very sukshma, is very subtle, because it's oneself. It's not really like a pot. If a ghata, you don't require Prashna Prativachana Rupam. Means great vichara is not required. Prashna Prativachana Rupam, there are a lot of doubts about it, a lot of questions are raised, a lot of answers. So there is a tremendous amount of inquiry on the part of the student. Otherwise, he is not going to become clear that I am Brahma. Uttam Adhikari goes to the teacher and the teacher says, you are Brahma, and says, yes, I am Brahma, and he goes away. ऐसा कभी नहीं होता है. ऐसा नहीं होता है. You just go to the teacher and then say, I am Brahma iti. नहीं होता है. You have to think. उत्तम अधिकारी का भ्रांति भी उतना है जितना अधम अधिकारी का भ्रांति है. A person who is a bright student, he is under the same bhranti as even a dull student. You can't say a bright student has got less bhranti and a dull student has got more bhranti. Bhranti to vaise. The problem is common to all of them. Therefore, the difference between Uttama Adhikari and Adhama Adhikari and Madhyama Adhikari, these differences hardly matter. It is not that Uttama Adhikari comes to know just like that. Nor the Madhyama Adhikari fails to understand. Both can understand, but both have to cover the same distance. One walks fast, other walks slow. They have to cover. They have to reach a point. Both have to reach Badri. The one who walks faster reaches before, and the one who walks slower, he reaches later on, but both have to cover the same distance. Understand? Both have to cover the same distance. In Vichara also, the Uttama Adhikari has to cover the same distance as even Madhyama Adhikari. He may cover it faster, that's a different thing, but he has to cover. Therefore, there is no concession for the Uttama Adhikari. He has to cover the same distance. Like two people are given two verses to be memorized. One does it faster, the other does it slower. But the number of times, one does it repeatedly, just quickly he does it, the other does slowly. But then, Uttana to, the distance has to be covered in the in the same manner. Both have to put in the same effort, but the same amount of effort, but then one does it faster, the other does it slower. So it is a thing to be understood, how even an Adhamadhikar, whether any type of Adhikar, any type of student, have to solve all his problems. Therefore, Shishya Acharya Prashna Prativachana Rupena Kathanam tu Sukshma Vastu Vishayatvad Atma being very subtle, requires a lot of contemplation. Sukha Pratipatti Karanam. And this Prashna Prativachana is a very beautiful way which facilitates easy understanding. Sukha Pratipatti Karanam Sadhanam Ityartha. So this Prashna Prativachana Rupa jo Upadesh hai, this teaching in the form of Prashna and Prativachana, question and answer, it makes understanding easy. Therefore, Sukha Pratipatti Karanam Sadhanam Bhavati hota hai. So, it has got, why it is in the form of questions and answers? Because the subject matter is very deep. So, it requires a lot of reflection. And the question and answer method is adopted here because the subject matter is deep and it makes that subject matter easy. Bhavati. Kevala tarka agamyatvam cha darshitam bhavati. Kevala tarka agamyatvam is not available for mere logic. Truth cannot be known through mere logic. Kevala means mere. Tarka, logic. Agamyatvam, ununderstandability. Atma is not understandable through mere logic. Logic we use as an aid to the Shastra. To understand what the Shastra says, we use the logic. In fact, Shastra itself adopts certain forms of logic called Anumana. Anvaya Vitireka, as we will go. We will analyze all that. You know, Upanishad, even though it is a small, I am going to bring in a lot of things. Pura Naishkarma Siddhi ko layenge. So a lot of things we will go into. And therefore, even though mere logic doesn't help, the speculative logic doesn't help, but there is a kind of logic called Anvaya Vyatireka Nyaya, which is going to help in understanding the Shruti, that is accepted. But mere logic doesn't help. Kevala tarka agamyatvam cha darshitam bhavati. Darshitam bhavati, it is shown. Because Atma cannot be understood, it is shown by the Shruti itself. Shruti itself tells that the Atma cannot be understood through mere logic. Therefore, you have to listen to a teacher, a Shruti, and then do vichara with the help of the student. In companionship with the teacher, in the presence of the teacher, you listen to the teacher in his, and then with the help of the Shruti and the teacher, you reflect. You try to understand with the help of the teacher and the Shastra. There is no other way. You have to analyze within yourself and take the help of the teacher and the Shastra. How to do Adhyanam, proper Adhyanam. So that the Atma cannot be understood through mere logic is said here. It is also wrong to say that Atma cannot be understood through logic and therefore just leave the entire logic. When you leave the logic, you become illogical. Is it not? Supposing you leave the logic, then you become illogical. Like a person says really, so the bhakti or upasana, if you go on praying to Bhagavan, Bhagavan will come before you and then he will take you to heaven. Supposing somebody says, a bhakta says, bhaktas, they entertain all these thoughts. So Bhagavan will come with a vimana. Bhagavan has got always one vimanam with him. So a flight he has got. So when he comes to the earth, he comes in that flight. And then he comes straight there where the bhakta is there doing tapasya. And then he lands there and takes the bhakta and then goes there.
This is what Bhakta really believes.
And you tell him, aisa kaisa ho sakta hai? Bhagavan to aapka andar hai. He will bless you in a different manner. He will create in you knowledge. This is all beyond logic. You can't understand, he will say. So you say, you dismiss me that it is beyond logic and yourself become illogical. Therefore, truth is beyond logic, but it is not illogical. It is beyond logic, alright. That does not give you a sanction to be illogical. Most of the people say truth is beyond logic and try to become illogical. Therefore, beyond logic should be beyond illogicality also. If you understand the truth as beyond logicality as well as illogicality, then you are a thinking person. But most of the people, what they do, they say that it is beyond logic and then become illogical in their thinking. They become blindly illogical. So one must guard oneself against this approach. So here Shruti says, Naisha tarkeda matirapaneya. Esha matihi means this jnanam about Atma. Esha matihi tarkena na apaneya, cannot be gained through tarka. Na esha tarkena matihi apaneya. Prapaniya ityartha. Apaneya means can be gained. Na apaneya cannot be gained. Esha matihi, this matihi. This matihi means this knowledge about Atma. The knowledge about Atma cannot be gained through mere tarka. Through mere tarka it cannot be gained. Why? Because what is tarka for? Tarka is always about an object within perception, but not right now with me. It's paroksham. It's away from me. Wherever this realm we will get into later on, we will go into this realm of logic later on. But now itna to samajh lijiye, Atma being myself, I don't have to infer. Logic means what? Inferring. You go about inferring things. I know. You go about inferring. A car is coming behind. There is a horn. He gives a horn. So what you don't see. Without seeing, you step aside. You are walking on the road and you go to the side without looking behind. Then what are you doing? You are inferring without. You don't have to see. You hear the sound and make an inference that there is a car coming. This is what is called anumana, meaning a kind of inference. Most of the logic is nothing but inference. You deduce. You deduce through certain data. You have the data, the sound, and you deduce that there is a car. This deduction. So this deduction, unwittingly man follows at every step in life. At every step you follow this deduction, this inference, otherwise you can't live. You can't live. No individual can live on mere perception. Everybody has to follow perception and anumana. You came here now at 10:30. Why? Because you knew that there will be class. Now what is that knowledge? Perceptual. Did you saw me at home? From your own house, did you see me sitting here and teaching? No. आपने अनुमान किया कल क्लास था, आज भी क्लास होगा. Last week on this day there was class, so कल भी class होगा. This is what is called inference. Without inference, you can't do. A farmer really tills the land, puts the grain, everything, and then he waits for the crop. What is he doing? He is doing anumana. Yeah, when I till the land, so the seed crop will come. Is an anumana. Because there is karyakarana bhava, cause and effect. Therefore, man's life is based upon both pratyaksha and anumana. So man is all the time indulging in anumana, inferences. Deductions and inferences. So this kind of deduction and inference is not valid as far as Atma is concerned, because Atma is not away from me. What is deduced by me is not Atma. What is inferred by me is not Atma. Myself is Atma. Therefore I don't have to infer my existence. Do you have to infer your existence? No. When you can't infer, you need not infer your existence, then you don't have to infer its essential nature also. All about Atma. Atma's existence need not be inferred, and therefore all about Atma need not be inferred. Not clear? Atma's existence, one's own existence is not a matter of inference. Therefore, all about oneself is also not a matter of inference, it's a matter for understanding through Shruti. Anyway, it's not a matter of inference. Therefore, here it is said, Naisha Tarkena Madirapaneya, this knowledge about oneself cannot be gained through Tarka. Therefore, one has to listen to the Shastram and the teacher. Therefore, Prashna Prativachana is necessary. Inquiry is necessary. Iti Shrutescha. Then comes, it is also said how Atma cannot be understood by mere logic is also made clear by the Shruti itself, which says, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. This is one statement which is great. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. The one who has a teacher as such, a teacher who can teach, well, he knows. A person who has a teacher knows. If the student is a real jignasu and if there is a real teacher, he can't miss the truth. He as good as knows. Acharyavan, Acharyavala, Purushaha Vidyarthi Jignasuhu Veda Janati. The one who knows the one who has the teacher knows the truth. Not that by owning a teacher you know it. Here Acharyavan means what? The one who has the teacher means the one who listens to the teaching. A person may live with a teacher, but if he doesn't listen to the teacher, he will not understand. See, to obey the commands of a teacher is not a big thing, but to understand the teaching is a big thing. Because हमेशा we always think श्रद्धा का अर्थ क्या है? स्वामी जी जैसे बोलेंगे हम ऐसे ही करेंगे.